I can't believe that on a Jets channel I have to make a video about the Philadelphia Eagles, but here we are. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and today we're going to have to talk about, well, the New York Jets and the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, they made a trade for Haason Reddick, and now it's coming out of the Philadelphia Eagle camp that Haason Reddick is being accused of chasing sacks during his time in Philadelphia. What? They might as well have just said, man does his job, how dare he? How dare the man do his job? To put it, let's talk about this, right? Haason Reddick is a pass rush specialist in the NFL, and he's one of the best pass rush specialists in the NFL. He is, and this is not the words that I'm using, this is in a report coming out of Philly that is even defending Haason Reddick that says he was, in his time with the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the NFL's most lethal sack artists. That's the words that he was used. Yeah. That's what he is. Haason Reddick is a pass rushing specialist. If you need a sack in a big time moment and you know it's a passing situation, there are very few players in the NFL that you want on your line that aren't Haason Reddick. That's the point. Now, there are other players in the NFL, and I'm not trying to say that he's one of the best edge rushers. He's not, right? He is one of the best pass rushing specialists. You need a sack? Haason Reddick can get you one in a big time. We can see that from the fact that, well, they paid him a bunch of money, 3 years, $45 million, after two back-to-back 10-plus sack seasons, came to the Philadelphia Eagles and gave them back-to-back 10-plus sack seasons. One of those was a 15-plus sack season. And then in the final year, it doesn't make sense because now he's going into his final year of his deal, which in the NFL, players tend to not play on the final years of their deal because they're not going to risk injury for a team that will literally throw them to the curb if they get hurt. This is just how business is done in the NFL. So for a general manager that has been touted as being one of the best GMs in the NFL and Howie Roseman to then let this story come out that Haason Reddick is chasing sacks, even though you brought him in to chase sacks, are we going to say the same thing about Bryce Huff now in a negative light? Bryce Huff was chasing sacks. That's what we wanted him to do. That's what you want out of your pass rush specialist. You never want to see a guy like Bryce Huff on first and second down. Never in a million years. The guy can't play the run. He doesn't set the edge. He's not good enough to really play in coverage. So when it's a clear passing situation, which the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be in a ton because they tend to play with a lead, there's no better player for your scheme than a guy like Bryce Huff because teams are going to be forced to throw the ball against you, and you want a pass rushing specialist. Haason Reddick is a better version of that because Haason Reddick can actually not really, play coverage and is actually a force positive in the run game. Not a massive one. I never want to see him on first and second down in the run game, really. But if he's there, I'm not worried like I am with a guy like Bryce Huff. And you know why I can feel comfortable saying all this stuff about Bryce Huff and Haason Reddick and all those things? Because Howie Roseman said it himself in a press conference. Oh, we're going to have to see if the stories about him struggling in the run game are all true and if we can help him get better at that. Yes. So it just blows my mind that this is even a story. And I've said this a couple of times, and I'm going to put this out in a video so that I can't take it down. I truly see that this is what's starting to happen in Philadelphia, and the panic is starting to set in that their Super Bowl window is coming to a close. They've got, in my opinion, 2 more years of trying to really push for a Super Bowl before they have to do a relatively hard reset. Maybe 3. And why do I say that? Well, one, this team is only getting older, and they're doing their best to replace those players at positions of need, but they're not doing it quick enough or fast enough. They have been decimated over the last 2 years on the interior of the offensive line. They've been decimated in their coaching staff, and that's another thing. We can now see that Steichen is one hell of an offensive mind because he went to Indianapolis, won 9 games with a backup quarterback, and almost made the playoffs, where the Philadelphia Eagles really, really struggled offensively last year. And they shouldn't, right? Because Jalen Hurts and whatever. And you can see that in how Howie Roseman is going about addressing free agency this year in massively overpaying for Saquon Barkley and Bryce Huff to come in to try to replace some of the production that they lost. Saquon Barkley 1 year removed, right? Because they had one of the best running games in the year that they went to the Super Bowl. And then obviously Huff is supposed to be a direct Hassan Reddick replacement. And look, they've done a lot of really good jobs with, bringing in Sweat to try to be Graham's replacement, and he's not there yet, but they've also done a really good job of replacing the interior of the defensive line in back-to-back years, taking Jalen Carter, and then who's the other one? Jordan Davis, both the Georgia boys. Like, I'm not going to sit here and dog him he built a really, really good roster, but the safety room is still suspect, and they haven't been able to fix that. Bradbury and Slay are only getting older as years go by, and they're getting worse, and they haven't been able to really solve the wide receiver 2 problem in Philly, because Devontae Smith, while he's been good for them, isn't what I would really call a stud wide receiver 2. They don't have another outside guy that they're operating really well with, and they probably need another wide receiver. A.J. Brown is a stud, don't get me wrong, but the way that these contracts are built, if you guys want to have a laugh, just go look at the 2027 cap hit for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's insane how much dead cap they're eating for guys like Saquon Barkley and Bryce Huff and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and all of the. It's just insane, and you can see that they're getting into their win now window. And again, desperation for a Super Bowl is not a bad thing. The Jets are in one right now, plain and simple. But to have this story come out about a pass rushing specialist who was chasing sacks, it's just ridiculous. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And last but not least, go Jets.